Most gardeners make a mistake with cardboard that quietly damages their soil every single season. They burn it, they pile it into a fire pit, watch it turn into ash, and assume they've created some kind of powerful soil amendment. The problem is that burning cardboard destroys most of the biological value it could have offered the soil in the first place. What you're left with is mostly mineral ash, and almost none of the carbon structure that soil organisms actually need. Over time, that habit can flatten soil life, reduce fungal activity, and leave beds that dry out faster and produce weaker crops. What actually works far better is using cardboard the way soil biology wants to use it, slowly, with microbial help, and then combining the small amount of ash you do create with other materials to form a balanced mineral mix. This approach has worked reliably in backyard beds, raised beds, and even nutrient support systems for hydroponic setups where mineral balance still matters. And if you're serious about soil performance, you need to start treating cardboard not as trash to burn, but as a controlled carbon input. Before we go deeper, if you're the type of grower who likes practical soil strategies that actually move yields and soil health in the right direction, make sure you subscribe to the channel. FarmLogic is all about methods that serious gardeners can test and apply immediately. Now let's talk about the real issue with burning cardboard. The problem isn't that ash is useless. Ash absolutely has value. The problem is that gardeners burn too much cardboard and then apply the ash incorrectly. Cardboard is mostly compressed plant fiber, essentially carbon-rich cellulose. When you burn it, you remove nearly all that carbon structure and are left mostly with potassium salts and small amounts of calcium and trace minerals. That means the ash becomes extremely alkaline and very concentrated. If you dump large amounts of that ash directly into soil, you can easily spike the pH and lock out nutrients like iron, manganese, and phosphorus. I've seen raised beds stall for months because someone dumped a bucket of cardboard ash across the surface thinking they were feeding the soil. What works better is creating what I call a controlled ash-carbon blend. Instead of burning stacks of cardboard, burn only a small portion of it intentionally. Think about 1 part ash for every 20 parts shredded cardboard or dry organic matter. That ratio keeps the minerals concentrated but balanced by the carbon materials soil microbes want. In a typical backyard garden bed that's 4 feet by 8 feet, you only need about 1 to 2 cups of cardboard ash for the entire bed when mixed properly. The rest of the cardboard should never be burned. It should be shredded, soaked, and fed directly into the soil ecosystem. Here's how I usually prepare it. I start by removing tape and glossy sections from cardboard boxes. Plain brown corrugated cardboard works best. Then I tear it into strips roughly 1 to 2 inches wide. Perfection doesn't matter here. Soil organisms will break it down regardless, but smaller pieces break down faster. Once shredded, I soak the cardboard in a bucket of water for about 30 minutes. This softens the fibers and starts microbial activity immediately. Sometimes I add a small handful of compost or finished vermicompost to the water to inoculate it with microbes. Now here's where the ash mix becomes powerful. For every 5 gallons of soaked cardboard material, I add roughly 1 tablespoon of fine ash. Not a shovelful, just 1 tablespoon. That tiny amount distributes potassium and minerals evenly throughout the carbon material. Then I mix in about 1 cup of finished compost or worm castings. That step introduces bacteria and fungi that will colonize the cardboard quickly. What you've created at that point is essentially a microbial carbon sponge loaded with trace minerals. In raised beds, I bury this mix about 2 to 3 inches below the surface. The best location is between plants or along planting rows. Within a couple weeks, you'll see soil structure start to change. It becomes darker, softer, and noticeably better at holding moisture. Earthworms especially love this material. They pull it down deeper into the soil, spreading those minerals and carbon throughout the root zone. In one of my test beds growing tomatoes and peppers, adding this mix twice during the season noticeably improved water retention. The soil stayed moist almost a full day longer during hot weather compared to untreated beds, and that difference matters more than people think. Stable moisture means roots stay active longer each day. When roots stay active longer, nutrient uptake improves, which translates directly to stronger growth and higher yields. Now let's talk about an application gardeners rarely consider: using this same material in systems connected to hydroponic growing. Hydroponics itself doesn't use soil, but many serious growers run hybrid setups where plants start in soil beds before transitioning to hydro systems, or where mineral teas are brewed from organic materials. The cardboard ash mix works extremely well for brewing mineral microbe teas. In a 5-gallon bucket of aerated water, I add a handful of the cardboard mix along with compost and just a small amount of molasses. After about 24 hours of aeration, that water becomes loaded with microbial life and soluble minerals. Strained properly, that liquid can be used to feed container plants or early-stage hydroponic seedlings. Now, it's not a replacement for hydro nutrients, but it definitely strengthens root development and microbial resilience early in the plant's life cycle. And if you want to monitor exactly what's happening inside these mixes, especially temperature and microbial activity, using a compost thermometer makes the process far more precise. I'll leave a link to one in the description because it's the same type I use when checking compost and soil amendments like this. It helps you see whether microbial activity is actually happening instead of just guessing. Now here's something most gardening advice gets wrong about cardboard. People treat it like a weed barrier. They slap down huge sheets under mulch and expect soil health to improve. That approach can work temporarily for weed suppression, but thick cardboard layers can actually block oxygen flow and slow biological activity underneath. Soil organisms need airflow just like roots do. Shredded cardboard integrated into the soil performs far better than flat layers sitting on top. By shredding and mixing it with minerals like ash, you're essentially pre-digesting the material for the soil food web. Fungi begin colonizing the fibers quickly, especially in beds with wood mulch or compost nearby. Those fungi create networks that move nutrients across the soil and support plant roots far more efficiently than bacteria alone. Over time, that fungal activity transforms the cardboard fibers into stable humus. And humus is what gives great garden soil its crumbly structure, its ability to hold water, and its capacity to store nutrients long-term. Another place this ash mix works extremely well is in compost piles. Instead of adding ash directly to compost, which often creates alkaline pockets, I mix the ash into shredded cardboard first. That spreads the minerals evenly before the material ever hits the compost pile. The cardboard acts like a carrier that distributes those minerals throughout the compost as microbes break everything down. In piles where I've done this consistently, finished compost tends to have a noticeably richer smell and darker color, which usually indicates stronger microbial activity and better humification. One important caution though, cardboard ash is powerful. Even small amounts can shift soil chemistry. Always start light. 1 cup per raised bed per season is plenty for most gardens. More is rarely better when it comes to mineral ash. Healthy soil thrives on balance, not extremes. And when you start using cardboard this way, something interesting happens over time. Waste materials start becoming inputs instead of garbage. Shipping boxes become soil structure. A small amount of ash becomes a mineral supplement. Compost becomes the microbial engine tying it all together. That shift in thinking is what separates average gardening from truly productive soil systems. If you found this helpful and you want more practical strategies like this that actually improve soil performance, subscribe to the channel and share this video with another gardener who's still burning their cardboard. The goal here is simple: help more growers produce stronger plants, healthier soil, and better food using knowledge that actually works in the garden.